Welcome to Good Games Spawn Point, the show for gamers by gamers. I'm Hex.
And I'm Bajo.
And I am D.A.R.R.E.N.
Coming up in the show, we're going to bend some elements in the legend of Korra. I would love to be the Avatar. Earth, air, fire and water all at my command.
I'd like to be a cheese bender, to bend cheese directly into my mouth.
Ooh, a worthy aspiration, Bajo.
Also on the show, the magic, the movement, and the music of Fantasia, music of old.
Oh, but now I'm ready for some trivia, D.A.R.R.E.N.
Oh, this isn't mere trivia, Hex. This is D.A.R.R.E.N's challenge! Today's question is this. Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, and Parappa the Rapper were all mascots for which video game console? Answer at the end of the show.
All right, well now here's Goose with the news.
Thanks guys, Goose here with all the gaming news from around the globe. Nintendo are delivering some super bans to Smash Bros players. A number of 3DS gamers have reported being banned from Nintendo's online service for, get this, 136 years. Whoa! The ban is clearly a bug, as typical bans from Smash Bros are around 15 minutes. Nintendo has not yet acknowledged the issue, and unfortunately, there's no surefire way to avoid the ban. The Internet Archive, a non-profit website, has been storing books, websites, movies and more for many years, but now they're taking on games. Over 900 classic arcade games from the 70s to the 90s have been made available for free on the site. Project developer Jason Scott hopes that the games will be played and used in research, in writing, and in understanding the history of games. And that's all the news for this week. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Goose. All right, guys, let's bend some elements in the legend of Korra.
Kerry, do the thing!
The Legend of Korra. I think the cartoon may actually be my favourite cartoon of all time, so I was very excited to see how this third-person beat-em-up turned out. You play as the heroine Avatar Korra, who has the ability to manipulate or bend the four main elements: earth, fire, air, and water.
The story of this game takes place somewhere between books 2 and 3 of the show. The ancient Avatar enemy Hundun is released when Korra opens the portals to the spirit world.
Affirmative, Hex. Hundun plans to unleash chaos on the world, and what's worse is that he has his chi blockers remove Korra's bending.
I'm afraid your bending is blocked, Avatar. You won't be able to fight your way out of this.
Oh, the humanity!
As you progress through the story, you'll slowly regain your bending by unlocking the elements one at a time. This is done by completing a simple challenge while taking on enemies by countering or dodging attacks.
That's it! I've got it!
Yes, and each element has its own moves and combos. Waterbending uses long-range attacks. Earthbending is slow but powerful. Airbending is quick and useful for multiple enemies. And firebending emphasizes speedy close-range attacks. I thought these added some nice variation to the combat, especially when you're changing them up on the fly.
That's correct, Bajo. Each form of bending also comes with both light and heavy attacks. I enjoyed shooting icicles at my enemies. Oh, pew 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 pew! I might add that it is a little slow going unlocking your bending powers. By the time you have all four elements, it's towards the end of the game.
Yeah, that is a good point, D.A.R.R.E.N, but I thought all the animations for these were just beautiful and the cel-shaded graphics matched the style of the show just perfectly. I had the most success with earthbending. Kicking pillars up and firing them off made me feel like a true earthbender.
I found airbending to be the most effective. It may even be a little overpowered because you can take out so many enemies at once. But that brings me to my biggest issue with the game, the enemies themselves.
Yes, you'll be facing wave after wave of the same recycled enemies.
So many chi blockers, D.A.R.R.E.N.
Down with the Avatar!
It quickly became tedious, grinding through all of these enemies. It just became a bit of a chore.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Bajo. Those mecha tank enemies were just as annoying. To take out just one of them took me almost 10 minutes. It felt like I was doing barely any damage against them. Even with the different types of bending, it just made no difference.
Yeah, I actually thought I was fighting them the wrong way because I was doing so little damage. It is possible to counter their charge attacks, which does deal more damage, but it's still tedious work.
And once you take down the first one, you think it's over, but unfortunately this is not the case. The game keeps throwing mecha tanks at you again and again.
Yeah, I thought the difficulty spiked quite suddenly too, almost rage quit worthy.
Affirmative. This plotline is also completely separate from the show and is broken up by some simple and dull cutscenes.
Hello?
I like that it has its own plotline, but barely any characters from the show make an appearance. Chinora does pop up here and there as a guide, and you can buy items from Iroh in the shop, but there is minimal interaction with both of them.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Bajo. Mako and Belina are literally in the game for 10 seconds right at the beginning.
I hope you're not too rusty for this, bro. Me?
Whoa! And there go Mako and Bolin. Now it's 3-on-1.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Although Naga, your polar bear dog companion, is in the game, you'll be controlling her in an endless running type minigame.
That's right, Hex. Here your objective is to avoid, slide, and jump over obstacles in your way. Naga will slowly increase her speed, which can make for some disorientating gameplay.
It does whip you around corners pretty quickly. I found that quite challenging, but also unfair. What do you think overall, Hex?
Well, we finished the main campaign in about 5 to 6 hours, and it is only $15, so there are some Avatar fans out there that might enjoy it for that price. But it just feels like they've tried to pad it out and increase the difficulty with things like endless runner missions, and they aren't that fun, so I'm giving it 6 out of 10.
Yes, I think this is a big missed opportunity. There's so many great fighting mechanics in the Avatar series that would work so well for video games. But most importantly, Korra is all about story, and there's just not much story here, so I'm gonna give it 5.
All right, it's time for you two to practice your word bending at the Ask Good Game desk.
Oh, okay.
Do you see what I did there? Yeah. I made a reference to a thing.
Good job!
Oh, thank you, thank you.
All right, well, let's get into some of these questions, and we can kick things off with this one from Isabella, who is in Melbourne, Victoria. Hi, Good Game. A while back, I saw your review on Pokemon X and Y, and I've been looking forward to the new Alpha and Omega Ruby series. However, I'm not a very big gamer. I have loved the Pokemon games in the past, having almost every version from Pearl until Black, but I don't own a 3DS, only a DSi. Because I'm not a gamer, I'm scared that my mum and dad will think I'm childish. What can I do? Should I buy a new console and buy the game? Help! I'm so unsure. Thanks, Bajo and Hex. Hello. Make these noises? Ah! Oh, ah! Boop-kee-goop.
Well, firstly, Isabella, sorry to break it to you, but if you played almost every Pokemon game, then you are a gamer. You're just gonna have to come to terms with that.
Yeah, but I wouldn't worry at all about your parents thinking that you're childish. The average age of gamers in Australia is actually 32 years old, so it's a hobby that's for all ages.
So I'd say if you want to play the new Pokemon games, then just get them, and who cares what anyone else thinks? As long as you have fun with them and they entertain you, then it's totally worth it.
Well, hopefully that helped, Isabella. But let's move on to this one now from Lachlan in Narcourty. Narcourty
Narakorte.
in South Australia.
Narakorte. When will we see a De-Blob 3?
Ah, well, Lachlan, if you'd asked us that question just a month ago, we would have said that there was no chance we'd ever see a new De-Blob. But we have recently heard some news on that front.
Yes. Now, the Australian developer of the original games, Blue Tongue Studios, actually closed down a while ago when their publisher THQ started facing serious financial trouble. And sadly, once THQ closed down completely and sold off all their games series, no one bought the rights to De-Blob. So it looked likely that we might never see a new game in the franchise.
Yes, but just a few weeks ago, a developer from Austria announced that they'd snapped up the rights to it. It's important to note that they haven't actually announced that they're working on a new De-Blob game yet, and there's no guarantee that they ever will.
But I think it's probably fair to say that if you buy the rights to a series, there's a pretty good chance you're thinking about making a new game in that series.
Very true. Still, for now, we just don't know when exactly we might see a De-Blob 3. Games take a while to make, though, so if they're planning on making a full-blown console game, it'll be at least 2 to 3 years before we see anything.
They might make a smaller downloadable or mobile game in the series though, which don't take as long to make usually, so potentially we might see something sooner.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? But anyway, moving on to this one, and it's actually a real letter from Minecraft Queen, who is from somewhere.
The Minecraft Queen? Oh.
Mining and bowing.
Yes. To Good Game SP. I am Minecraft Queen. By the time you get my card, you may have already answered my question. If not, can you please answer my question? Because I've asked about 6 questions and you haven't answered any. But that's okay. My question is on PlayStation 3, can you make a time machine? If so, can you go forward in time? Please answer. P.S. You guys are awesome. Also, Goose and D.A.R.R.E.N. Live and play Minecraft. Oh, there's a little mind block there. Oh, fantastic pen-person-ship Minecraft Queen. But we're sorry to say there's no time travel contraption that you can build in the PS3 version. Probably the closest thing that we can think of would be a bed, which lets you sleep and jump ahead to the next day and skip through the night.
Well, yeah, but I don't think that really counts as time travel, though. You're just going to sleep.
Well, it's a bit like time travel when you think about it. So you go to sleep, and then bam, it's the next day. Bam.
Well, I guess, but anyway, it's worth mentioning that there are time travel mods available for the PC version. They let you build time machines, but yeah, there's no such thing for PS3, unfortunately.
Go for Bajo. And Hex.
Hello, this is Darren.
Oh, Darren. Oh, is this Darren from the future calling?
Negative. I'm afraid I'm calling from the present day. However, did you know that it is possible to actually time travel to the future in real life?
What? How?
Well, as you start moving faster and faster, you get closer to the speed of light, and time passes much more slowly for you in relation to anyone else moving slower than you. So, if you travelled in a spaceship at around 99.9999% of the speed of light, for every year you experienced, everyone on Earth would have experienced 223 years. They've even seen this phenomenon affect our astronauts and our satellites in space to a minute degree. Because they orbit so fast, they actually time travel a few billionths of a second every day.
Whoa, that's amazing, Darren. Let's go to the future right now. Let's go.
No, calm down, Bajo. Even I don't have the technology to go to speeds anywhere near light speed. It's just possible in theory. For now, at least. And time travel to the past, however, remains a much less likely possibility.
Oh, well, Darren, stay on the line because this next question kind of has a bit of a question for you in it.
Oh.
It's from Zayden, who is in Newcastle, New South Wales. Hello, good game. In Minecraft, the spiked ice biome from 1.7.10, is that in real life or is it just made up by Mojang? And is Darren's eye holder thingy an egg holder for breakfast? Bajo, do these.
Hummy nummy. Dooby dooby.
By the way, love the show.
Egg holders? That's preposterous. They're hyper-fast neural conductive optical nerves. Extremely advanced technology, if I do say so myself.
But Darren, you've got to admit they do look a lot like egg holders.
Mere coincidence, Hex. Did you ever consider eyeballs are quite egg-shaped? So it only makes sense that my extremely advanced eye holders would resemble egg holders.
So what you're saying is we could actually use them as egg holders.
I suppose so.
Well, there you go, Zayden. They are actually egg holders.
Negative.
As for your question, Zayden, well, we've never personally found a spiked ice biome, so I'm not sure if they're real.
Well, they are exceptionally rare biomes, Bajo, but they do indeed exist. They can be especially tough biomes to survive in if you aren't prepared, as they have no trees, and without wood, you can't craft much. However, I believe Zayden was asking if such a biome is found in reality here on Earth.
Oh, in real life. Well, there's definitely real-life places like the North Pole and Antarctica which are just covered with ice, but I don't think anywhere has those same towering spikes of ice like you find in the game.
Well, Hex, there is a snow and ice formation known as penitente, which are essentially fields of spiked ice blades. These blades can even form to be over 5 meters tall!
Whoa, those sound pretty cool, Darren. But some of those towers in spiked ice biomes are as tall as buildings. I don't think there's anything quite like that in the real world.
Well, that is correct. Such ice spikes aren't found in real life. But glaciers and icebergs can result in giant ice formations. And who knows what kind of ice formations we might one day find on alien worlds.
Oh, that's true. It's a big universe out there, so probably some kind of ice spikes are somewhere on a planet. But thanks for all the interesting information, Darren. I think you can head off now.
Bye,
Okay
Darren.
then, adios.
Bye, Darren. Bye.
Nice to meet you.
I'll call you later. I'll call you later.
All right, well, I think it's time for one more, and I've got this one from Dylan, who is the king of everything,
Whoa!
who is somewhere in Queensland.
What sort of salute should we do for the king of everything?
I don't know, but I'm excited.
Yeah, okay, so I have
it's
to get
standing
on
up.
I have to get on the table.
It's getting on the table. Actually a bit anticlimactic in the end, but good job.
My king. Hello, GTSP. I am wondering on what type of handheld I should buy. PS Vita? Wii U? New Nintendo 3DS? Thanks. Well, Dylan, it's never easy choosing which console or handheld to buy, but we can help you narrow down that selection a bit right now because the Wii U is not a handheld. The gamepad does not work at all once it goes more than about 10 meters from the console.
But choosing between the Vita and 3DS, well, that's tough. As we always say, it comes down to two things. Which one has the games you want to play and which ones your friends have.
They both have great games, so choosing between them is going to be tough. Vita has stuff the 3DS doesn't, like Little Big Planet, Tearaway, and Minecraft, whereas the 3DS has exclusive stuff like Super Mario 3D Land, Pokemon, and Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I'd suggest maybe just going into a shop and browsing through each of their games and seeing which one has more games that really appeal to you.
Indeed, but if you've got a bunch of friends with a 3DS, for example, and they all might be playing something like Smash Brothers or Mario Kart together, then you probably don't want to be missing out on all that fun. So in that case, your choice would be easier.
At the very least, we can say you'll be very happy with either one of them, as they're both great handhelds. Hopefully that made choosing a little bit easier for you though, but on that note, we're actually out of time for this week. As always, if you've got a question you'd like to ask us, then you can go here and send it in.
Oh, that's fun! Oh, Bajo speaking.
Close enough. Hello, it's me, Darren.
Hi, Darren, how you going?
We need enough in the office. It's time to review Fantasia.
Oh, we're on the way!
I'm gonna
Let's
be
get
a
musical.
Yes. Music.
All right, it's time to review Fantasia Music Evolved, so you two had better watch how you conduct yourselves.
Certainly, Darren. We wouldn't want to get into trouble.
No, we better guitar act together.
Okay, give it a rest, you two.
All right. Scale it back.
Music puns. Fantasia Music Evolved is a motion-controlled rhythm game inspired by the Disney films Fantasia and Fantasia 2000.
You play as the apprentice to legendary composer Yen Sid, who teaches you how to control music to earn stars and complete your sorcerer's hat. But not long after, Yen Sid mysteriously disappears, and a troublesome noise begins to infect the land.
Yen Sid, are you here? Oh, Yen Sid, where are you? What is going on?
You soon learn that Scout, a previous apprentice of Yen Sid, is responsible.
Oh yes, that's Scout's journal. She's always scribbling in that thing.
After unceremoniously rifling through her journal, you set out to play songs in various realms to gather magic fragments to play Scout's failed song and set things right.
Players use the Kinect to sweep, punch, hold, manipulate, and remix songs to create sweet music. These movements allow for quite fluid physical interpretation of music, although after a while, simply moving one's arms can feel rather repetitive.
Yeah, they use a lot of sweep motions, don't they?
I've never seen a diamond in the flesh.
There's nothing physically demanding about this game. In fact, you can play it sitting down, which makes it nice and accessible. But sometimes I just felt like I was waving my arms about. Oh my god, it's too fast now.
Yes, and the push-forward movements don't work that well with Kinect either. Often, I could have sworn I hit a mark spot on, only to not have it register. Hunt time. I found the cues to be rather confusing at times too.
Yeah. The only indication of which movement comes next is what order it appears in, which is no help when there's numerous things popping up at once. So instead of this feeling enjoyably challenging, it just feels messy and unfair.
Plus, sometimes cues were hidden amongst the moving background. And the arrows and balls seemed to curve on a 3D plane as they headed towards their marks, which made it a bit difficult to gauge exactly when to hit. Often I just found myself trying to see when to hit something rather than knowing when to move with the music.
Yeah, I agree, and it didn't help when the action seemed to follow instruments buried in the mix. The times when it is spot on, though, feel so satisfying as you carve music into the air.
I think the difficulty could have done with a bit more balancing. It's all over the place. It was either too easy to the point of being boring, or there was so much happening on screen that I just couldn't tell what to do.
And the scoring was practically meaningless. Challenges require you to score in the hundreds of thousands, but I consistently got scores in the millions.
Yeah, that did feel a bit silly. I did like, though, that they tried to make it so that after you set the initial calibration, you can just put the controller down and use the Kinect. Are you sure it's not perfect, but it shows they've put thought into how this game is going to be played.
This is a really good idea, but it does make the game quite hard to control. For example, you navigate through realms by shifting your shoulders left or right. And this works for the most part, but there are times where you need that finer control, such as when I was trying to chase this Yeti. Hurry, hurry! Come here, cheeky Yeti, I'll get you.
Each song offers 3 different mixes, which unlock through challenges and can then be chosen at predetermined points in the song to mix and match different styles.
I thought these were really well done, and they certainly added some colour to the mix. Get it? Colour? Like tone colour, the musical term, and also the mixes of different colours?
Good one, Hex!
Thanks, Darren.
Yes, well, there were some good ones. I especially liked 1-1, which gave me classical music, chiptune style. Shifting between mixes gives you a cool sense of control over the sound you're shaping and helps keep you invested. It was always exciting waiting to hear a new mix, but the composition parts of the game don't work so smoothly.
Affirmative. These see you touch various points on the screen to create your own riff. Whilst cool in concept, in practice they're rather limited and suffer at the hands of the Kinect's floaty controls.
Yeah, I found I could never quite make what I wanted to. Either because the notes were too far away to do it in time, or I just couldn't hit them accurately enough. So eventually I just gave up and flailed my arms about and tried to hit as many things as I could, but at least it still sounded good.
I had that problem too, and it's a bit sad because the game wants to make you feel like you're making music, but most of the time you're just waving your arms about. What did you think overall, Hex?
Well, I actually quite liked it. There were some times when I did actually feel like I was in control of the music, and that was exhilarating. Plus, the remixes are solid, and it's a great way to be a part of creating music if you can't play an instrument, so I'm giving it 7.
I like how unique this game is, but it does have some rough edges, and those moments where I was truly in flow with the music were just too few and far between, so I'm gonna give it 6.
Let me live that fantasy.
Well, guys, we're now inching ever closer to the end of the show, so Darren, the answer to your challenge, if you please.
Affirmative, Hex. Earlier, I asked you this. Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, and Parappa the Rapper were all mascots for which video game console? And the answer is... the PlayStation 1, Sony's first games console, released way back in 1995.
Thanks for that, Darren. Next week on the show... Oh, actually, Darren, could you just turn off your hearing for a minute, please?
Why would I turn off my hearing?
Hex, help me out, cover his ears. Yes.
Where are his ears?
I don't know, where are your ears, Darren? Anyway, next week on the show, SingStar Ultimate Party.
Did you just say SingStar?
How did you hear me, Darren?
I could see your lips move, Bajo.
I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number.
All right, Darren, you can play, but don't be a microphone hog. We want to sing too.
But the best singer has a responsibility, Hex.
All right, well, until next time, Spawnlings, may all your games be good ones. Hex out.
Bajo out.
Darren out.